Hey there witches, Tiffany here on Bewitching.Bemused. Today I want to talk to you about creating a witchy atmosphere. One phenomena that appears to be true across the occult board is an increased success rate when the caster truly believes in magic and their ability to wield it. I've heard of witches whose spells are more likely to manifest if they use dramatic but fun gestures and finger twirling like a witch in the movies, and ceremonial magicians who only work at night by candlelight to the same effect. There is much to be said for atmospheres and actions that make you feel like a powerful and divine sorcerer. After all, isn't this the same reason we adjust our emotional states through energy raising and visualization? We back our magic with emotional power and then lean into the emotion of the desired effect of our intentions. Same concept on a more general scale. Now, is this required for spell and ritual success? No, of course not. Within a focus and intention, a successful spell can be cast just about anywhere at any time. But this is one way to increase the right kind of energy, assist you getting into that focused state, boosting your magical confidence, and adding an extra zing to your work. Here are 5 ways to help yourself tap into your most powerful witchy mindset. And my lighting is crap, so I'm gonna go try to fix that. That might be too bright. Sorry, I've got a 3-week-old newborn and I'm working on her schedule right now, so I'm just doing what I can. Crappy light, frizzy hair, hot flashes, doesn't matter, let's keep going. First, try using a dedicated ceremonial space. Using the same space every time, or at least almost every time that you practice your witchcraft, helps to solidify that location as a special ceremonial space where the work gets done. It's much like that common advice that's given to insomniacs to only use their beds for sex and sleep. That way, their mind and their body associates the bed with those things. If you're also using it to sit and listen to podcasts or watch TV, read books, snack, scroll on social media, then you're not just gonna associate it with the feeling of being sleepy. So it is even better if you don't use this location for anything other than your craft and perhaps your spiritual work, so that your mind associates that space to those feelings of performing magic. Now, understandably, not everyone has a lot of room for a dedicated space that they only use for that one thing, or they may be practicing in secret, which prevents them from creating that sort of space. That's fine, do what you can. A dedicated space could be an entire room, yeah, sure. Or it could be a working altar on a desk or a small shelf. Again, better if you can use that desk for only that thing, but if not, just make sure you always do that thing at the desk. Or it could even be as simple as an altar cloth that is spread out on a surface to work at and then folded and put away after. So a dedicated altar cloth. You use it to dress the space, to create the space, and then you put the space away so it's not used for anything else. Next, try mimicking your idols. It might be the swish and flick of a wand from Harry Potter, or the rhyming incantations in Charmed, the original. Or it could be waving your arms in, large circles over a cauldron to bring that smoke up to your face, billow it up your nostrils like Shakespeare's witches in Macbeth. Now, despite knowing that these are fictionalized versions of magical practice and the real deal is much more subtle in its manifestation, the dramatization and pageantry can often strike us with a yearning to, ham it up. No need to be embarrassed, especially if or when you're practicing solo. This is your performance, so lean into the exaggeration if that's what makes you, feel like, yeah, I'm super witchy and magical. When I was a kid growing up in the 90s, I watched The Craft, that movie came out, and I remember mimicking a lot of the things that they did for fun. And even to this day, if I kind of draw in on that, and same with watching Charmed and watching Willow, for instance, she's a witch in Buffy, watching what they did and kind of mimicking it gave me that witchy, powerful feeling as a kid, and I can still tap into that. And actually, that also touches on a nostalgia memory sense memory factor, which we'll get to in a little bit. The next step is to tap into all of your senses. If it won't put you into a sensory overload, you can potentially use all of your senses at once to set the right mood. Now, I can't give you specifics because what makes me feel witchy may not make you feel witchy, but here are some examples that you might want to consider that might just kind of get you there. For audio, you can listen to music or create your own, or play sound effects, binaural beats, or nature soundscapes. For your sense of smell, of course, incense, scented candles, and oils. Sense of taste, cakes and ale is always a great one. I know you're supposed to technically, I guess, finish it off with that. Maybe having it nearby will kind of make you start to salivate thinking of the flavor of it, or you can always eat it in advance, do your own thing. You don't have to eat it at the end. It could also be a refreshing glass of purified moon water, a glass of red wine. When it comes to your sense of sight, you have a lot of options here. It could be particular colors that trigger things for you, so you can decorate in that color. You can also definitely look at the lighting, whether it's candlelight, moonlight, sunlight, a colored light bulb, dim versus bright light, etc. And of course, you can always use imagery, whether that is a statue or tarot cards, sigils, a painting, runes, so on. And of course, with sense of touch, you should consider your movement. Are you sitting? Are you standing? Dancing? Even just swaying might kind of give you I don't know, just like kind of get you into that trance state, to just have like a little bit of that movement loosen you up a bit. Or like I mentioned earlier, having dramatic hand gestures, or if you're working in a group, try holding hands. Next, like I kind of already touched on, factor in nostalgia and sense memory. When I first picked up a book on witchcraft, I was 12 years old and I was in a small bookstore in the mall that smelled a little like rose oil. So ever since then, the smell of freshly printed books and rose oil is intrinsically linked to witchcraft for me. Before anybody comes at me, I do love the smell of old books. It's just a scent that's linked to other memories. Now, I don't incorporate those into every spell, especially with rose oil. It oftentimes just doesn't fit, but I will usually take one big whiff of it. I will take a brand new book and kind of fan those pages sometimes and just like, and I'll do that right before I get started with my spell work or ritual. Our senses, especially our sense of smell, are tied to our memories, and we can often use them to bring ourselves to a time and a place where we may have felt a particular way and sort of bring that feeling back up. So when you think of being at your witchiest, stop and think, what memories do you tie to that idea and to that feeling, to that level of confidence, of power? What was your first exploration of the craft, your first successful spell? Take those and put yourself back where you were. What were you smelling? What were you hearing? What were you seeing? Now make use of whatever else is tied to that memory. Maybe it was an air freshener that you happened to be keeping in your car at the time, or it was a band that you just discovered and you were listening to almost non-stop. Reusing these things can reignite not only the memory itself, but the intensity of the feeling within that memory. Finally, try it in costume. Now, maybe I say this as a theater kid who, man, if you've ever done theater or acting of any kind, you may know exactly what I'm talking about. You find this character, you work on this character, you hone this character, you learn your lines, you get your blocking down, but you never fully embody the character until you get into costume and makeup. And then you just feel it. You just find them, it clicks. Now, while many books will tell you that dedicated ceremonial garb is important in that it has no energetic residue from being worn out and about in the world, and yeah, that's fine if that's important to you as well. Totally, that's a valid reason to have ceremonial garb, but not many books factor in that the right outfit can alter your state of mind, just like I mentioned with the whole character thing. Now, maybe you don't know what I'm talking about with the theater example because you just never acted before. That's fine. Some of you may know what I'm talking about though in regards to putting on a Halloween costume. If you're the type who gets really into it and really commits to the character for the night just for the hell of it, just for fun. But for the rest of you, consider what you might wear to a job interview or a first date. You're gonna wear something that fits well and you feel confident and comfortable in, right? So when you're practicing magic, why wouldn't you wear something that makes you feel powerful? Now, just like your dedicated ritual space, it can be as elaborate or as simple as you like. You may like to work barefoot in a flowy dress that sort of swirls around you as you cast your circle, or it could be an amethyst tiara that makes you feel like the ruler of a magical plane. So whether the vibe that makes you feel the most magical and powerful is dark and moody, precise, silly, light and whimsical, fantastical, casual or dramatic, or like whatever else, just grab that inspiration and use it to your advantage. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I normally recommend a video at this point, but I didn't line anything up. Well, I'll post something on the screen and enjoy. Talk to you guys soon.